What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video. And in today's video, well, you guys, you already know what time it is. Yes, that is right, Soulcalibur 6 has officially dropped. The collab has started in the King of Fighters All-Star, so hopefully all of you guys out there who are planning on summoning today are going to get exactly what you want. However, summoning is going to be the topic of today's video, not necessarily us doing a bunch of summoning, although I might do a little bit here at the end of the video with those tickets. Instead, today I want to go ahead and give you guys a PSA as early as humanly possible for all of you new players out there who are just jumping into the game for the Soulcalibur 6 collaboration, because there is a chance that you could be making a huge mistake today just because you got really overly excited. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some information today. I'm going to run down the kits for the two banner characters, and I'm going to talk about how I would approach these banners for this collaboration, but not just this collaboration, really any collaboration, because the stuff we're going to be talking about today, well, it might be common sense for a lot of veterans, but like I said, you beginners out there, you may need a hand in this, and I got your back. But before we go ahead and get into all of that and more, make sure if you guys haven't already done so, you smash that like button and subscribe. And let's just go ahead and get into today's video. So obviously we do have the first volume for Soulcalibur 6. This is going to feature Cassandra and TAKI. And I want to talk about a little bit with their kits, and then I want to talk a little bit about how I would approach these banners, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there that, because of the hype train, especially if you're coming into this collaboration as a huge Soulcalibur fan and you're new to the game, you may end up messing up and using a lot of your resources earlier than you would like to, and then come next week you might be kicking yourself. But you might not either. We'll have to wait and see, but that is what we're going to talk about today. So first and foremost, let's talk about the characters. So like I mentioned, Cassandra and TAKI are going to be the characters featured for Volume 1. And if we take a look here, I want to start out with Cassandra. And the reason I want to start out with Cassandra is because I want to talk about quite possibly the strongest character that we've had so far. Now, Cassandra, we only have limited data on so far. However, if you take a look at this character's kit and you compare it to a lot of other characters out there, specifically a lot of the more recent characters, and then you take a look at some of the footage that's already out there of this character, even though it's only been a few hours, it's pretty obvious just how ridiculously strong this character is. So if you're wondering with this banner which of the two characters I'm the most hype on, I'm the most interested in, if you guys didn't see my breakdown videos on the trailers, then you may or may not know this. Cassandra was the character that, out of those couple of characters that we got to take a look at there, she was one of the most interesting to me. However, TAKI is still very, very good. We'll talk about that. But Cassandra, nothing has changed there. This is still, in my opinion, the best character that is going to be available on this banner. And this character is one of, if not the best characters in the game right now. So if we take a look here at Cassandra, Cassandra has a leadership ability that increases Soulcalibur 6 fighters' attack by 70% of their defense and decreases their active skill cooldowns by 0.5 seconds. This is an interesting leadership ability. It's one of those ones that may or may not prove to be very, very strong. We'll have to wait and see. The bigger and more interesting component of this to me is the fact that this is going to be a leadership ability that decreases active skill cooldowns, right? That's a big, big deal. We don't see much of any of that in the game with any of these EX characters. So if we're going to start seeing this more and more often, that's going to be a pretty interesting factor going forward for a lot of these EX banners. But I digress. When it comes to the rest of it, that increase of your attack by 70% of your defense, we've seen attack or defense to attack conversion a lot, and it's never really amounted to much. However, this character, I would argue, based on her kit, does it better than most. So being that she has it on the leadership ability, may or may not be the best thing in the world. However, very interesting nonetheless. Now, with that being said, this is a yellow defensive fighter. We are definitely seeing yellow defensive fighters in collaborations pretty often, and they're usually pretty good. This one, however, is going to take the cake when it comes to that. At the end of the day, being a yellow defensive type, it's nice to have it, specifically for things like RHD and things like that. But really, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a factor in this game anymore when it comes to typing outside of very specific things, right? Now, when it comes to the effects on the cores, this character has some pretty interesting stuff. I want to take a look at her exclusive cores. She's going to have Omega Sword and Owl Shield. This increases her attack by 7.5% and her attack speed by 0.5% for every active skill used on a duration of 10 seconds, and this stacks up to 10, right? So with that being said, this is really, really good. That attack speed increase is important. A lot of people don't realize how good that is, but you will realize it as you play with this character more and more. I guarantee it. It's a big, big component of this character's kit with this core, and this right here is a really, really interesting and very, very strong piece of this core effect. Now it continues to get better. At maximum stacks, this resets the active skill cooldowns and applies the effect to your teammates for 10 seconds on a cooldown of 10 seconds. So this character, part of the reason why she's so strong isn't just because she does just ignorant amounts of damage. It's also because she is a support in places too, where she can actually be benefiting your entire team on top of just being a solo artist, right? So this character kind of does it all, and that's part of the reason why I say I think that this might be one of the best characters we've ever seen. This character looks deadly in this game. And again, I urge all of you guys, go look up some footage. There's some early footage out there of this character in action from the usual suspects here on YouTube. Check it out. This character looking absolutely busted. She's also going to apply physical damage equal to 300% of attack for every attack landed on enemies affected by Starlight. Now, this character is going to have a native dot. She's going to have Starlight, so that is cool to see. We don't see that as often anymore. I had mentioned that during the trailer breakdown, I would like to see proper dots again, and here we are, right? So that's pretty cool. Now, that's going to do it for this core here. Very strong, but she continues to get better. She is immune to burn, shock, bleed, darkness, starlight, stun, and freeze. Yeah, she's pretty much immune to most things. It's pretty crazy. Very, very nice for her, though. It's going to give her some very, very strong immunities in here. Particularly stun, starlight, and darkness are really good. So that's going to be very beneficial for her in a lot of different PvE areas. And then she's also going to decrease her finisher skill cooldown by 1 second for every active skill used. So she has the ability to spam those finishers. Very important when you have a long 3PG finisher. She's also going to gain damage immunity for 5 seconds when her HP is 50% or less on a cooldown of 9 seconds, and then has the Soulcalibur 6 exclusive core of recovering 15% HP when attacked in guard stance on a cooldown of 8 seconds, and increases attack by 5% upon landing a basic attack, and that stacks up to 10. Notice that this recovery of 15% of your HP is only when attacked in guard stance. This does not have to, this means, based on the verbiage here, and I haven't actually played with these characters yet, obviously, but recovering that 15% HP seems like all you've got to do is get attacked once while you're in guard, and you get that full 15%. This isn't an increase over time, right? So that's really good. Really, really good. So overall, the cores tell part of the story. However, we need to take a look at the skills. As you guys can see right off the bat, this character has Concentrate. She is going to have Concentrate here, and it is going to be on Angelic Twirl EX. So keep that in mind, right? We'll get to that when we get to the skills. So when it comes to this character's kit, we are going to have a derived skill, right? Right here, you're going to notice we have Angel Step into Curonus Bolt. I don't know. Somebody in the comments will tell me how bad I messed it up. This can be used while being attacked, so it is going to be an interrupt only while standing. Keep that in mind. This is going to cast a critical hit shield on all teammates, including yourself, that absorbs damage for 4 seconds upon use, removing the shield when hit with a critical hit 4 times on a cooldown of 8 seconds. Yeah, remember when I said that this character can support? She can support. Now, she's also going to increase active skill damage by 200% for 6 seconds upon use, and increases defense by 90% for 7 seconds upon use. Now, again, it's a derived skill, so there are more effects here. On the second half of this, it's going to increase your attack of all of your teammates by 140% of defense for 10 seconds upon landing a skill, and increases critical damage by 80% for 10 seconds upon landing a skill. Guys, do I need to explain just how good the S1 alone is? The S1 alone is freaking stupid. However, there's 2 more skills, so let's continue. On the S2, this is where you're applying your radiant damage, otherwise known as Starlight. This is going to apply for 10 seconds upon landing a skill, And then you're also going to, upon landing, a target becomes dazed for 6 seconds. So you get Daze and Starlight on the same skill. Really, really good. And then finally on the S3, which is your Angelic Twirl, this one can actually be used, or move, you can move while using it, if I can talk today. So this is going to be kind of similar to Lady Choi before her. So very, very good. However, this is also going to be, if you remember, the skill that is going to be affected by your concentrate. So keep that in mind. So you're just going to be able, once you flip on that concentrate, just be all over the place, right? So this is going to have a interrupt on it. So as you guys can see, it's going to have an interrupt while standing in airborne. You are going to have your hyper armor, so pretty standard stuff. There's your hyper armor with your interrupt, as you see with most any meta character. And you're going to increase your critical rate by 30% for 8 seconds upon landing a skill, with a PvP exclusive of disabling the target's active skill and roll for 4 seconds upon landing a skill. Yeah, this character is busted. Busted. Absolutely busted. Now, one last thing here, she is going to have a core finisher. This core finisher is going to have an interrupt on it, and this is limited to standing, airborne, and knockdown. Pretty limited, right? Pretty crazy stuff. And then we increase our critical damage by 60% for 10 seconds upon landing a skill, and increase defense by 50% for 10 seconds upon landing a skill. So, with that being said, you guys, that's Cassandra. And she is something else. Now, this character right here, I can understand if you want to just jump in and start pulling. However, again, PSA, at the end of this video, we need to talk about. I want to go through the kits first. I'm going to give you guys my early thoughts on these characters, just in case you are wondering if you're going to summon or not. But we do need to talk about whether or not you should. So, next up here, we have Taki. Now, Taki is going to be the banner mate with Cassandra. She's a blue attack type, which is a very sought after typing, which is very good. She increases EX fighters' attack by 50% and critical damage by 35%. That's more like it when it comes to our leadership abilities that we like to see on our characters. And then when it comes to this character's kit, she's going to be a little bit simpler, but she's still very, very good. Very strong character. It's just that Cassandra is just busted, right? But both of these characters are stupid good. It's just that Cassandra is just like brain dead. So this character increases attack by 25% for 8 seconds upon using an active skill and stacks up 2. So you get a nice 50% there. You increase critical damage by 50% when a Soulcalibur 6 fighter is on the team. That's really good as well, so she likes to be used with other Soulcalibur characters. And then she has a PvP exclusive that removes buffs from the target's active skills upon landing a critical hit. So this character, again, simple, very simple, to the point, but very good stuff overall. Now, next up here on Shadows of History, she's immune to Stun, Freeze, and Fear. Not as many immunities as Cassandra, but still very good. She increases attack by 25% and decreases damage received by 80% for 5 seconds when tagging in, and gains damage immunity for 5 seconds when her HP is 35% or less. So whereas Cassandra is 50% or less, this character is 35% or less. That's a good trade-off considering one is a defensive type character, or at least supposed to be, even though she's doing just absurd damage. Typing doesn't even matter anymore, I've already mentioned this. And then when it comes to this, it's still very good. It's a 5-second duration. So overall, good stuff. She has the same Soulcalibur 6 effect for the exclusive cooldown there. So again, that nice increase of or recovery of your HP by 15% when attacked in guard stance is there. That increase to the attack is there. So overall, good stuff. Now, let's take a look at her skills. This character has something kind of interesting when it comes to her overall EX core skills. She detonates Cursed Talisman upon use if it still exists on the field, resetting her cooldowns of Cursed Talisman and Burst, and increases all enemies' damage received by 20% for 12 seconds, and this stacks up to 2. And then on Soul Charge, she is going to gain maximum power every 1 second for 10 seconds, and decreases active skill and finisher skill cooldowns by 80% upon use. So right here, guys, this is going to be the one you're probably going to want. The reason being is you're going to notice this little icon right here. This is actually going to change your effects, right? So if you guys remember, we had this previously with Haohmaru, and now we have it right here. A very broken mechanic, and we'll talk more about it. But first, I want to go ahead and I just want to talk about these skills, and then we can go ahead and talk about what we're seeing here as far as this thing is concerned. But overall, guys, this character, like I mentioned, just absolutely nutty broken. So when it comes to this character's S1, she is going to use it to increase attack by 80% for 10 seconds, and use it to enter a Fury state for 7 seconds, dealing physical damage equal to 200% of attack to the target every time a skill lands. On the S2, mind you guys, this is at base, this is not when using the EX core, so keep that in mind. Now, on the S2, this can be used while being attacked only while standing, and you deal physical damage equal to 250% of attack every 0.2 seconds for 1 second upon landing a skill, and reset your finisher skill cooldowns by 12 seconds. Wait, what? It's interesting wording. Reset finisher skill cooldown by 12 seconds upon landing a skill. They mean decrease? Oh, whatever. But reset finisher skill cooldowns by 12 seconds upon landing a skill. Very good. Then on the S3, she can use this while being attacked. This is limited to standing or airborne. She gains hyper armor for 4 seconds and increases critical rate by 30% for 8 seconds upon landing a skill. And then finally, on the core finisher, if we take a look here, this can be used as an interrupt while standing, airborne, or knocked down. Very good again. Increases target's damage received by 55% for 10 seconds upon landing a skill, and increases her finisher skill and active skill damage by 200% for 10 seconds upon landing a skill. Busted stuff. Just nutty stuff. But if you A5 her, which that's the biggest downside to this character, right? Any of these characters that are going to have this EX skill, it's almost like they're like forcing you or trying to force you to summon on them enough to get them to A5, which kind of sucks, because really the A5 for the EX skill is worth it for these types of characters. It's just very hard to do when you're dealing with banner rates, right? So that's kind of the downside to this character, because while she's really, really good, this kind of makes it a double-edged sword, no pun intended. But let's continue. This is going to be her effects while under the use of Soul Charge, right? So, on the S1, use this to increase attack by 100% for 10 seconds, use it to enter a Fury state for 7 seconds, and you have that physical damage equal to 250%, right? So you guys will notice the multipliers change right there, right? Instead of 80% at base, it's 100%, so on and so forth, just so that way everybody knows how this mechanic works, right? Next up here, the S2 is going to be used while being attacked, so it is limited to standing, and deal physical damage equal to 300% of attack every 0.2 seconds for 1 second upon landing a skill. Again, very good stuff. And then finally, on the S3, this is again going to have your interrupt while standing or airborne. You have your hyper armor for 4 seconds, but you increase your critical rate by 35% for 8 seconds upon landing a skill. So overall, guys, we take a look here. This one here goes up by 5% there on the critical rate. So again, that just gives you, I just want you guys to kind of see the difference there, because some people are still confused. This is kind of a new mechanic. This is one recently introduced with the last banner. So I just want to make sure everybody kind of understands what the difference is there. So overall, guys, this character and Cassandra, both of them, dumb characters. Cassandra, in my opinion, is way overloaded. Like, this character is probably going to end up being one of the nuttier characters in this collaboration overall. However, we still have 2 more characters and 1 more banner to come, and that is where we get to the PSA. Overall, guys, usually what you want to do with any collaboration is you want to wait a week for the second volume banner. In a week, we will have both Ivy and Mina. I'm going to call her Mina, just because it's much easier for me. But anyway, Mina and Ivy will be on the second banner, right? So with that being said, we don't know what they do yet. We have no way of knowing yet. So what that means is you should wait. Unless you are a whale and you can just pull on this stuff till your heart's content and get anything you want, wait. Because there is a chance that that banner could drop and one or both of those characters could be better than this. You don't know. So my recommendation to everybody out there, yes, I know you're excited. Yes, these characters are amazing, but wait. Hold on to your rubies. Wait until we get to the point, and even these time-limited rubies, have 19 days on them. You don't have to worry about that right now. They will be there next week. So right now, my recommendation is to do what I'm going to do. If I can get this thing to scroll, we'll just do this. I actually have these tickets here. I'm just going to use my tickets, and then I'm just going to wait, right? Because that is always the smartest way to budget, unless you are a whale. Now, I understand if you're a new player, you probably are rolling in rubies because you have all those first-time clear rubies, and you're going to be kind of in a position where you're lulled into a false sense of security. You think, oh, I have all these rubies available, I can just go get more. Yes, but they are finite, and these rates are not the greatest. So at the end of the day, my recommendation, and the recommendation pretty much most any veteran would give you, is to wait. Now, I understand if one of these is like your personal favorite and they're all you care about, then go for it. But if you're somebody that is really just trying to decide on who they feel like would benefit them the most, or who's the best, or you're a meta chaser, or whatever the case may be, you should wait. You should hold on. All you got to do is wait another week, and then you can summon. That is how you should approach these banners, and that is what almost any veteran would tell you. All right, so just keep that in mind. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and use my tickets, because we have been talking quite a bit in this video about how good these characters are, and while I am going to be waiting till next week to decide how I'm going to budget my rubies and who I'm going to be pulling for, I've decided that I would just want to use these today. So I do have 11 of the fighter summon tickets, and I do have 10 of the battle card summon tickets. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the battle card summon tickets, and I know we haven't talked at all about the cards, but really what I can tell you guys is the cards are phenomenal. So that's that. There's really not much to talk about there, considering the fact that these cards have all been kind of parodying each other recently. Like the set card here is just dumb. It's very, very good. And really, at the end of the day, these option cards are also really, really good. So in general, like, you want the cards, right? You always want the cards. But with that being said, believe in the heart of the cards. Praise Rico, and let's go ahead and use these tickets up, right? So, like I said, I'm going to use the battle card ones first. Then we'll go ahead and we'll use the fighter ones. Maybe we'll get lucky. At the end of the day, I am going to be summoning pretty hard next week on one or both of these banners. I don't know which one yet, but we'll have to wait. Like I said, guys, you're always better off being patient when it comes to collab banners. Just wait to see what ends up happening with the second banner, because you only have half the story on the first week. So these here, I have kind of a weird number. I'm going to use this one right here, and then we'll use the full multi. Hopefully we can pick up one of the characters. That'd be really, really clutch. I'm not holding out any hope on that, but you know, we saw what happened with the Soulcalibur one, or not Soulcalibur ones, with the Samurai Showdown ones for the EX Volume 7, so you never know. But let's see what happens here. This is our only multi with the tickets, which not necessarily the most generous. All right, so we're not going to get one of the EX fighters. Maybe an SS? No? Okay, well, that's pretty much that. So those tickets definitely were not very useful, but that's okay. It is what it is, right? So at the end of the day, you guys, I'm going to hold off, and I recommend that you guys do so as well. I will be pulling, but I have to wait and see how I want to budget. And again, any veteran would tell anybody out there that they should do the same, unless they just can wail out, or it's a favorite, or whatever the case may be. Now, other things to talk about. Obviously, there's a lot of events, a ton of stuff with this update. I am going to be covering it like I've been covering these updates recently, and I'm going to do the Saturday chat and chill to break all of it down. And then tomorrow, I'll probably pinpoint a few things, give you guys some details on certain things, give you guys some tips on certain things, and go from there. But I want some time to actually go through this, sift through this, do some research on all this, play through it more importantly, and kind of get a general overall idea of what's going on here. So, with that being said, though, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing from this collaboration so far. I think it's shaping up to be amazing. We'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed. But I'm really hoping that this collaboration ends up being a strong one, and it looks like it's probably going to. But anyway, you guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about all this. Who do you prefer out of the two? Do you prefer TAKI? Do you prefer Cassandra? Let me know. Did you pull? If you did you get lucky? Did you get unlucky? Have you tested them out? What are you thinking about these characters? Are you planning on holding off? But let me know in the comments section down below. Like, share, and subscribe on your way out. And until the next one, you all take care and enjoy the collaboration. Peace.
Continue.